Hey guys, it's Christina Marie, and today I'm going to cover cabins to avoid on the Holland America Koningsdam ship. Quick summary, all of these tips are actually the same cabins to avoid on every single Holland America ship, but to keep this video focused, I'm going to be talking about cabins to avoid on the Koningsdam ship. Okay, first you want to avoid cabins at the front of the ship. The reason for this is that the front of the ship is usually the most rocky, so if you are prone to being seasick, you will want to avoid cabins at the front of the Koningsdam ship. Right now, really all of the ships are very smooth, so if you get a cabin at the front, no big deal, but ideally avoid like the first 15 cabins on each side at the front of the Koningsdam ship. Okay, the second thing to avoid is cabins on decks 8, 10, and 11. Not deck 9, because obviously there are no cabins on deck 9 on any of the Holland America ships. That's where the Lido deck is and the pool. The reason that you'll want to avoid cabins on decks 8, 10, and 11, again, this is not a big deal, but as the ship is higher up, they tend to be a little bit rockier. Again, not a big deal. The Koningsdam and all of the Holland America ships have really, really good stabilizers now, so not a big deal, but that is a cabin that you might want to avoid. Next, let me move on to the cabins that you really, really want to avoid. So you definitely want to avoid cabins on the Koningsdam ship below the Lido pool and below the adult pool. So this would be on deck number 8. The reason for this is that it is so loud and they pull out the lawn chairs in the night and in the morning. They pull them in the night and pull them out in the morning, especially below the adult pool. You will hear like scraping noises, especially below the adult pool. So this is where you want to be careful if you are staying on deck number 8. Look at the map. I think it's rooms like 8037 to 8091 maybe, but you'll want to avoid the adult pool. That's the worst. Below the Lido pool, you'll want to try to avoid it, but if you end up below the Lido pool, it's not as big of a deal. But that's one thing you'll definitely want to avoid. You'll also really, really, really want to avoid being below the Rolling Stone rock room or the BB King rock room. So this would be if you're staying on deck number 1, because those bands are loud. They are so, so loud. You will feel the vibrations. You will be staying up all night until 11 p.m. or maybe 11:30 p.m. So unless you plan on staying up really, really late and dancing all night, do not stay below the Rolling Stone rock room or the BB King band on the Koningsdam ship. You will regret it. Okay, and then one other cabin to avoid on the Koningsdam ship is the partially obstructed veranda rooms on deck 4. So you might think, oh, I have a veranda room, I have a beautiful view of the ocean. Usually yes, but not always. If you are on deck number 4, I think basically all of the rooms, except for the ones maybe at the very, very front, you will see your lifeboat outside of your veranda room, which is a big bummer. So do not get a room on the Koningsdam on deck 4 if it is by the lifeboats. So that's it. In summary, you want to avoid the cabins on the Koningsdam ship that are at the very, very front of the ship, that are on decks 8, 10, or 11, that are below the Lido pool, that are below the adult pool, that are below Rolling Stone, that are below the Rock and Roll Band, and that are on deck 4, where you have an obstructed view with the lifeboats. In general, I would recommend that you book a room on deck 6 or deck 5 in the middle of the Koningsdam ship. This is where my mom and I usually always book a room on Holland America ships, and we've never had an issue. If you want to be safe, just go with deck 5 or 6 on the Koningsdam ship, and you will have a great experience. And then I want to wrap up this video with 2 final guides and resources to get into more of the details. One is a link below to the Koningsdam ship plan so that you can see their exact deck plan, and you can look at the exact rooms, see how big each room is, find out where it is, and make sure it's not in a bad spot. The second place I'm going to guide you is a detailed guide with the exact cabin numbers to avoid by Cruise Mommy. She basically writes the exact cabins to avoid on each and every Holland America cruise ship. I was debating going through those details in this video, but I was like, no, let me stick to the high level details. If you want the exact cabin numbers, Cruise Mommy goes through all of them in detail. Way more than I would want to cover in a YouTube video. It would just get too boring. But anyway, that's it. If you thought this video was helpful, please leave a comment below. Also, if you've stayed on the new Koningsdam ship, or just the Koningsdam ship, I should say, and had an awesome room, please leave a comment below. And if you had a horrible room, horrible experience, share that feedback as well. And lastly, if you thought this video was helpful, please subscribe. It totally makes my day, and that way you get notified when I create new videos. Thanks, guys.